Now, one of the first things we have to do to get ready for the final electrical inspection is we need to close up these lights here. Now, I've already got the cover panel for the ballast in place, and basically these things just snap lock in place. You just hook it on these lips right here. Then there's another lip up here. Just simply snap it into place, and that's all there is to that. And that just covers your wiring and protects everything. You might notice I took the one lamp out just to give myself a little bit of extra room. There's a little tiny screw that goes to hold everything together, and now I can put my light bulb back in. Now with the ballast cover in place and the light bulb back in, now we can just simply hang our bezel. Just simply goes into the slot on the one side and hangs like so, and we just flip that up, and those should just go right into place and lock. And that's all there is to that. Good day, Pat the Backyard Builder here. Well, today is the day that we get ready for the electrical inspector to come. We've got the drywallings done, it's all painted, and I've got the suspended ceiling up. Now it's the time to finish up all the electrical, do little tasks like get all the bezels on, get all the sockets into place and the covers on, and everything the electrical inspector wants to see for when he comes. I'm going to get that all done today, and then I can give him a call and tell him to come look at it and get him out of my life. Not that I don't like inspectors, he's a nice man, but I have better things to do with my time. Anyway, anyways, let's get started here. Okay, so the first thing you do is just go around the room, and all these wires that you previously coiled up and had tucked inside, you just pull them all out. Get out your wire strippers, and you want to strip off about a half an inch of insulation off of everything, because they're all going to be hooked up at this point. Get yourself an outlet here. Now, personally, I find it's easier just to take this, give this just a nice little twist and turn that into a little bit of a hook. We'll put that on there. Now, put that onto the green connector, that's your ground. You're going to need a number 1 Robertson for this, or a flathead. A flathead will work as well. Flip that over. The ground plug always goes to the bottom for orientation. Now these are the new tamper resistant plugs. Now that's another change that they've made to the code, and that's another thing I wasn't aware of. No, it's absolutely mandatory. You have to have that in any kind of residential application. So just give those all a little twist. I find needle nose pliers, if you grab about 3/4 of an inch up the way, it gives you just the right amount of curl to hook around the screws on these things. Now you got your silver connector and your gold connector. Your gold connector goes to your black wires, which is your power source. And we'll just back that off. And if I did this with the right amount of curl, it should just hook right in there real easily. Just snap, there it goes. In you go. Now it doesn't really matter which wire goes on top or which wire goes on the bottom, unless of course you've got a split plug. Just gotta back that off just a touch more. Just get room. There we go. And just slip it in there and just snaps right on like so. Loosen that off a touch and just gives room for the insulation to slip past, and there we go, come on. There we go, just as soon as that wire hooks on, you just tighten it down. There we go. Neatly fold all your wires so that they go back, bend back in a zigzag fashion. Oh. One thing I like to do before I actually put that inside, just in case for any future maintenance, just like to put some electrical tape just over those connectors. This is not required by code. This is just a personal thing I like to do. Just in case I ever need to do any work on this outlet, I've got some insulation over here, so when I pull the outlet out, I don't have to worry about zapping myself. You just bend the wires, push them back into place, and just tighten those down. It's all done with the number 1 screwdriver. Okay, so with that in place, by the way, I don't have any power out this outlet yet, so I can't test it just yet. Okay, now once that's all in place, you just take your cover and screw that on, tighten those, and voila, you're done. That's all ready for the inspection. Now the only thing we have to do right still is just hook this up electrically and then test it. But I haven't got power to the circuit yet, so we'll do that shortly. There's another way you can hook these things up. You can put these screws all the way in, and then all you do you don't get to do this with the ground. You still have to do the ground the old-fashioned way. So what we'll do, we'll just hook our ground up. Like normal, there we go. We'll just hook that on there. Tighten that down. Now what you can do is you can take if you strip them to the strip gauge that's on the back of the socket here. Okay, you got a little gauge here. It tells you how deep to go. And what you do then, notice these little holes that are right here. You can then take your wire, again make sure the white wire goes on the silver side, but you just push it into the back like so, and then the black wire into the side where the gold oddly you need to have a clean cut for this, otherwise it doesn't actually fit the hole. But yeah, just take your wires and in they go. That's an even faster method for putting these things together. So just once again, just take your whole mass and just push those wires back in there and just into place just like the other one. Now most of the wiring in this room is fairly straightforward. You've got two pairs of wires coming into the box, and you know, they'll both hook up to the plug. Basically the power goes in, goes to the plug, carries on to the next plug. This particular outlet, however, is a little bit different because we've got a plug, and we're also going to be putting a switch here for some overhead lighting. Now I've got the twisted pair here is the wire that runs up the wall to the light where we're going to be attaching things. This is just going to be a special light that lights up over my workbench to give me some extra daylight. And so anyways, fairly straightforward here what we're going to do here. First thing, I'm going to need a pigtail here, so what we're going to do here, we'll just measure a bit of wire here, probably about 6 inches or so. And that's just going to go back into the box and join up with everything and be for a common ground. Now, this here, I'm just going to keep this wire out of the way so that I know it goes upstairs. I'll just put it there for now. All of these grounds are going to be common, and yeah, all of these whites go to a common ground. And basically what we're going to do here, we're just going to slip them in together here and see if I can get them all together. Come on, get in there. This is a challenge, getting them all through this. There we go. This is actually an older style connector, works very well for stuff like this. Okay, now I've just discovered that I don't have them right big enough for all four of these, so what we're going to have to do here, we're going to tie 3 of them together with our little jumper here. So I'm going to take the return from the light above and the wire that goes on to the next onto the next outlet, and I'm going to put it all together with the I'm going to put that all together with this jumper here, and then we're just going to use the plug itself as a second jumper, and that will join all of the grounds together like they need to be joined. So we will just go like so, twist that nice and tight, and find our electrical tape. always like to tape these things just as a precaution, just make sure everything stays in place, and if it does happen to move, then you've got some insulation on it. Okay, now that that's in place, we're going to put that at the back of the box. That will come up, and that will come up, and those two will now go into our plug. So we'll get our plug. Now, I'm actually using a new kind of device here. This is really neat. This here is a 15 amp plug, but it's also got a couple of USB charger ports on it. So that's all built right in. So this is really neat here. So anyway, we're going to we've got 2 holes here for the for wires to come in. Once again, a standard number 1 Robertson. We'll open this up if I can, or will it? Okay, haven't seen that in a while. That's using a Phillips. Okie dokie, we have to go to Phillips. Okay, now we got ourselves a Phillips. Now this kind of connector, you loosen off the bolt, and you stick the wires into the back of the connector, and then you tighten the connector, and that's how that's attached. And let's not forget our ground while we're at it here. Where the ground go? There it is. Once again, that little trick. Onto the ground like so. Come on, you turn. Okay, that's not. Let's try this then. Gotta love it when companies come up with new and interesting ways to attach their things. There we go. Voila, I think we got it. Ah, that does have it. That is the way. Okay, so now, now we need to, okay, this is the power coming in. We need to have that going in here. And I see what we need to do. Okay. Now, because I'm limited with my connectors here, I have to do the same thing with the pigtail that I did on the other side. Because I need to have, I need to have a, be able to continue my circuit. I also need to do a tap off for the switch here. So let's keep that there for now so we can keep track of it. Now, 2 pigtails, we're just going to connect this like so. Come on, twist. Everybody do the twist. A little bit of excess here we'll cut off. Okay. And once again, the electrical tape. If I can find the end of it, there it is. There we go. Now, one of these pigtails goes into here as well. Okay, so what we've got going on here now is power's coming into the circuit, connecting to the outlet. We're tapping off the outlet to a junction where we've got the other line going up to the next outlet, and then this is going to power our switch now, which is going to control our light upstairs. Okay, so here's our switch. Get the orientation right, and that will just go in there like so. And that will go in there like so. There we go. We'll push this to the back of the outlet here. And now we're ready to have some fun of stuffing this all into the box. Oh, yes, I forgot. Electrical tape. Once again, just cover up all our connections here so that nobody can get zapped at a future time. And we'll do the same for the switch as well. Just put those down since we're not using them. Just a quick note with switches, they do actually have an orientation up and down. And the reason for that is just the standard position for off is theoretically on the bottom. So you should be able to look at, if it's wired right, you should be able to look across the room at any switch and tell whether it's off or on simply by noting the physical position. There we go. Now another thing that's handy with stuff like this, especially when you're working with a lot of wires, is just have a multimeter handy and just do a quick continuity check and make sure your wires are right before you start adding power to the circuit. And that just helps to avoid any nasty surprises. Okay, you come on. Why can I not get that in there? so used to using a Phillips screwdriver or not a Phillips but a Robertson for doing this. It's the first time I've ever seen somebody use a Phillips. Last thing to do is just put the plate on it and put your screws in. And we can go on to the next piece of the puzzle. Anyways, now that all the outlets are wired up here and we've got our switch in place, the next thing to do is wire up the ceiling lights. I've picked up these new LED strip lights and I'm going to put them above where my new workbench is going to go, and they're actually quite a nice little device here. They've got some clips. They just you put the clips on the ceiling grid and they just snap into place, and then they've got little wires here that connect one to another so you can string them in succession here. Anyways, I've got one of these wires. I've got a octagon box up in the ceiling there that's wired up to the switch here, and now I'm going to be taking this connector and wiring it up permanently to the octagon box. Now the wire just happens to be stranded. I don't like dealing with stranded wires where I've got morettes to deal with. Crash. Because morettes, I find, tend to squish the stranded wires and you don't get a very good connection. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my soldering gun and I'm going to tin the ends of these wires, and that way I'll actually have a solid wire that I can put inside the moret and make life a little easier for myself up there. So let's see if my soldering iron's hot enough here. Yeah. See if we're, oh yes, it's melting nicely. Okay, way to solder is it's quite an easy process. You just heat the wire and then you touch the solder to it and just allow it to flow on. There we go, just like that. And same here, just heat the wire, touch the solder to it, allow it to flow on. There we go. There we go. Well, that's all there is to that step. Now, next thing we do, we go upstairs, we connect everything, and then we'll have light. I'm not sure how much you're really going to be able to see up here. Basically, simple matter of black to black, white to white, and ground to ground. And one trick is with morettes is to make sure everything's the same length, because otherwise it tends to not twist very well together. Now, with that all secured in place up here, I can close this box and tighten that up. the room and you're doing all the outlets and the switches and the covers and everything, now's the time. If you've got things like a fan cover or a light bevel or something like that that you need to put in, well, now's the time to do it. You might as well just take care of it and get it all ready for the inspection.